I got it now. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning. sir.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, we are waiting for our participants.
Sure. By the way, would you tell me how to upload my paper?
Yes, sir. Sir, in the first session, after the inaugural sessions, then I invite you for your lectures.
Okay, but would you tell me how to upload the paper on the system?
Sir, would you like to present yourself or may I present your PPT?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get it.
Hello?
Okay, would you say it again?
I want to say, would you like to present your PPT or may I help you?
I would like to do my PPT presentation by myself, but I do not know how to upload the paper to the system. And would you
Okay.
give me some directions? Then I can
Yes.
upload
Yes,
the
sir.
paper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, in the Google Meet, one button is there, arrow button is there. In just bottom of the total Meet, some options are there,
Okay.
and just one palm is there, and behind that one arrow is there.
Arrow.
After
Okay.
arrow, you click that button,
Okay.
and there is a full screen share or window share. So
Okay.
within these two options, you can choose anyone.
Okay, I got it.
And then you just select your PPT.
Okay, I got it. All right.
Good morning, everybody. I am S.S. Mahapatra from.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, others also, sir. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning,
Stuart
sir.
Taker. Good morning, Pooja, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Mrinal Kante. You are the convener, no, sir?
Yes, yes.
Also head of the department, or?
Yeah. No. I am
No,
not.
no, sir.
Okay.
No,
okay.
sir. Dr. Shubhabrata, there is here in the meeting. He is the head of the department.
Okay. What about ma'am? You are assistant professor in the
Yes.
department?
Yes. Assistant professor in commerce department.
Oh, very
Momita,
good.
myself, Momita Roy.
Oh, yeah, I have been receiving mail from you.
Yes, sir.
Shubhabrata Day. Okay, sir.
Yes, I am Shubhabrata, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. Good morning.
Yes.
Very good morning.
Very good morning, sir.
Very good morning.
Okay.
Sir is from this, Professor Suat is from Turkey, no?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which university, sir?
Yes. I'm a professor of economics.
Eastern University, sir.
Yeah.
Ishik.
Okay. So, how is your college going on?
Nice, sir.
Nice. Now,
In online mode, we are doing everything.
okay.
Exams and class. online class, exams, and taking assignments and all this. And simultaneously webinar and conference also we are going.
Oh,
I
very nice.
arrange.
In this time, you could organize. That's a great job. Yeah. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you, sir.
You must be working very hard. Hello, ma'am. Swati, ma'am.
Swati ma'am. Good
Yeah.
morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Good
Yes, sir.
morning. Good morning. I'm very happy to join with this group because I'm in Bangalore for last 30 years.
Oh,
So
ma'am.
I am joining from Ramayana Institute of Management. So I'm really
Okay,
happy
okay.
to join. Tomorrow afternoon I have my session also.
Oh, very good, ma'am.
Mrinal sir, please put on another message for join the participant quickly. Then we start. Mrinal sir. Hello. Mrinal sir, kindly send one another message in the WhatsApp group.
Swati, ma'am, you are in Ramaya College? No, which
Yeah,
college?
I'm in the Ramayana Institute of Management.
In
And
Bangalore.
yes.
Where it is located exactly in Bangalore?
Oh, it is located on New BL Road. It is in North Bangalore. If you know Hebbal or Malaysian, it's on New BL Road and it's a big campus, Ramaya whole group.
I know this side, Belandur,
Okay, Bilandur is on the other side.
other side.
You know, that is other side. Definitely, it's quite far off. But if you go to Bilandur, you have to cross Hebbal anyway from airport side. So this is not very far from Hebbal.
Okay, so nice. Nice to
I'm in
meet
this
you.
institute for last 14 years.
14
Before
years.
that, I have worked in many places. I started my career in Bhavanipur Education Society College in 1991.
In Calcutta.
Yes, and in Kolkata. So then I shifted to Bangalore after my marriage. I belong to ISC family. My husband is professor in ISC.
ISC Bangalore, which department?
Aerospace.
My son also did one small internship in IISc, Center for Nanotechnology, Nanoscience and Engineering.
With whom? Which professor?
Nath, some Nath,
Bimanna?
Bengal. No. Some other, is young, quite young, Center for Nanotechnology, assistant professor.
Okay. Maybe
Nath,
I
Nath,
got
Nath
it.
is there. Young, maybe within around 35 years of age.
Okay. No, a lot of new faculty members are there now. So Bengali is actually, and as we are not meeting for last 2 years for any cultural program due to this COVID, so
Actually, he was also one of the referees. Now he is doing PhD in University of California, San Diego, with
San Diego.
computer
Yes.
science.
Okay. Very good.
But he was one of the referees also because he
This
did.
Ramaya actually is just next to ISC campus.
Oh, okay, that side only, no?
It is just next to ISC campus. One wall we share, in fact.
Okay. So, sir is in aerophysics or aero?
Aeronautical engineering. Yes, aeronautical engineering. His
That-
name is Bobashish Ghosh.
Okay.
Good. I'm quite actually excited to meet with my all Bengali colleagues from West Bengal. So very
very
nice.
nice.
Because obviously, I presented my paper at some time in Kharagpur IIT, IIM Kolkata, and all this. I have few connections, but
Very welcome you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
sorry.
Very welcome you, ma'am,
Oh,
in our
okay.
conference.
Acha, ma'am, how many faculty members are there in your college, Kansrapada College?
Sir, in our department, we are in 6 faculty members, and in Kachapara College, near about 90 faculty members.
Oh, it's a big.
Okay. Today, sir also will join.
Yes,
Omalendu, sir?
Omolendu, That's why I am waiting, sir.
Have you ever come to Gangtok? City?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anytime.
Okay, then, ma'am, you can start. Let Amalendu sir come, then you
Yes,
can
yes.
start.
Just I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Welcome, Bimalantuda. Good morning.
Good morning, Momita. Thank you.
Oh, Bimalantu sir. Sorry, sir. Amalantu sir. Good morning, sir. Sir. Amalantu Bhuya, good morning, sir.
Sir, good morning, SS Mahapatra, sir.
Yes.
Sir, good morning.
Morning.
So now, Dr.
Professor
Subhabrata
Taker,
sir.
can you hear me, Professor Taker? Okay, madam, please.
Okay, sir. Professor
Professor
Taker.
Taker, can you hear me? Myself,
Yes.
Amalendu. Yes.
Yes. Hello, Professor Bunia.
Yes. How are you, sir?
Very nice. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Dr. Subhabrata sir, may I start?
Yeah. Please.
Mrinal sir, may I start?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning, one and all present here. On the beautiful morning, I, Momita Roy, Assistant Professor of Department of Commerce at Kachapara College, is pleased to welcome each and every one of you to a brainstorming international e-conference on contemporary issues in accounting, finance and management organized by Department of Commerce in association with IQAC Kachrapara College. Respected Principal Sir Dr. Pranab Kumar Bera, Head of the Department of Commerce Dr. Shubhabrato De, IQAC Coordinator Professor Shandip Molli, respected today's speaker Professor Dr. Suwat Tekar and Professor Dr. Amulendu Bhuiya, Professor Dr. S.S. Mohapatro, all other dignitaries and all participants of this international conference. As per Indian tradition, to begin with any good and noble work, we seek the blessing of God Almighty for the success of work. Hence, before officially beginning of the program, we need to take the blessing of Ma Saraswati. Now, I would like to play Saraswati Bandana. I request all dignitaries, please take part in this prayer.
Momita, start recording.
Yes.
I'm sorry, is it my turn for my presentation?
No, sir. One.
Okay.
Momita,
Yes, yes.
skip.
No, sir. I'm just starting the recording option.
Okay. I think there is some problem. Momita?
Yes. Sir, it is visible.
It's
No,
visible,
no.
visible but not audible.
Now,
No. I think you go.
I think your speaker is in off mode, Momita. I think your speaker is in off mode. YouTube speaker is in off mode.
এক minute. এক minute. Give me 5 minutes just.
Again, your speaker is in off mode.
এক মিনিট নেটওয়ার্ক একটু স্লো আছে, ওয়েট। শোনা যাচ্ছে? শোনা যাচ্ছে? কোনটা? অডিওটা শোনা যাচ্ছে না? Sorry for the interruption. Due to some network issue, it was take some time. Now, first of all, on behalf of Department of Commerce, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to our principal sir, IQAC coordinator, and Professor Amolendu Bhuiya for giving us an opportunity to organize this conference. Before we begin, let me acquaint you with what is going to happen shortly. The seminar is conducted for 2 days, 28th and 29th August 2021. Every day, we have 2 sessions, pre-lunch and post-lunch. Both the day, in our pre-lunch session, we have 2 guest speakers who enlightened us with their valuable thought and both the day we have two technical sessions which we run simultaneously. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Shubhabrato De, HOD Commerce, for the welcome address. Dr. Shubhabrato De, sir.
Yes. Hello, I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome the chief guest of the day, Professor Dr. Surat Trekar, eminent professor of economics, Ishik University, Istanbul, Turkey, for his kind consent to be a keynote speaker of this today's International E-commerce on Contemporary Issues in Accounting, Finance and Management. On behalf of my institution and department, I want to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Taker for accepting the invitation. Thank you, sir. Next, I have like to extend a special welcome to Professor Dr. Amalendu Bhuya, Professor, Department of Commerce and Dean, Faculty of Arts and Commerce, University of Kolani, India, who will be speaking later in this session as a keynote speaker. We are honored to have you with us. Your presence, sir, is indeed a source of great motivation. Thank you, sir. Respected principal, coordinator IQAC, teachers, and distinguished participants from different parts of the state and all over country, I, Dr. Shubhabrato De, feel honored to welcome you all to this 2 days International E-Conference on Contemporary Issues in Accounting, Finance and Management. COVID-19 badly affected all aspects of our civilization. All the business and operational activities have chosen new and innovative ways to survive. In such a situation, all operational entities in education, management, production try to adjust accordingly. We have 4 experts from across the field who will be staying with us for the next 2 days, sharing their thoughts, knowledge, and opinion with the rest of us. This conference is structured around 4 technical sessions. 4 technical sessions will be chaired by 4 esteemed professors from different areas. The schedule of the conference includes encouragement, discussions, and debate by the distinguished paper presenters. It will focus on the major issues, solutions, and long-term effects associated with business and economy. I hope this virtual conference will be profitable and fruitful for everyone present here. I wish everyone a successful, safe, and fruitful conference. Now, I give the virtual floor to Momita Roy, Assistant Professor of our department. Thank you, one and all. Professor Roy.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Suat Taker, our chief guest of today's event. Sir, please say a few words regarding the conference.
Okay. Thanks for your invitation. Now, I'd like to upload my paper.
No, sir. Your session after inaugural sessions, you just present your paper. Okay. Right now, you just say about something regarding our conference.
Professor, take,
Okay.
Just
Please.
1 or 2 minutes. 1 or 2 minutes.
please take 1-2 minutes.
Okay.
Something say about the conference. regarding your feelings and emotions regarding the conference in India. Okay.
Okay.
2 minutes. There, after completing the inaugural session, you will be the first speaker, keynote speaker. Okay.
I understand. Thanks for the invitation for this conference as a keynote speaker. That's my gratitude, actually. I'm very happy to share my ideas and the knowledge with you in this conference. I am sending my best regards from Uşuk University, located in Istanbul, Turkey. I'm actually right now in my summer house, which is located in the Aegean coast. Since you know this is the summertime, there is no school in Turkey, and we hope to start doing the classes early October. It looks to be your conference you're holding, it's a real contribution to the literature, and I see I'm going to share lots of knowledge in this conference with my colleagues. Once again, I'd like to present my gratitudes to especially the Congress Organizing Committee and Professor Bunia. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite our respected principal, sir, Dr. Pranab Kumar Bera, for the special address related to the conference.
Thank you, Momita. Good morning, everybody. At present, we all are passing through the tremendous hardship to fight against COVID-19 outbreak, which is the most challenging factor to the nation at present. Hope we shall definitely overcome this situation very soon. On behalf of our institution, I warmly welcome all speakers, chairpersons, research scholars, teachers, colleagues, and students who are at present in this international e-conference on contemporary issues in accounting, finance, and management. I convey my regards to our four eminent speakers, Professor Sirat Tekel, Egypt University Department of Economics, Istanbul, Turkey; Professor Devdas Rokit, Department of Commerce, University of Bardwan; Professor S.S. Mahapatra, Department of Commerce and Dean, School of Professional Studies, Sikkim University, Gangtok; and lastly, Professor Amalendu Bhuyan, Department of Commerce and Dean, Faculty of Arts and Science, University of Kolkata, for accepting our invitation and joining in this conference. In this conference, we must discuss issues with significant implication for the future of our country. The schedule of the conference will focus on the topic of finance and accounting, human resource management, marketing, economics, general management, etc. It will include more issues to address the full aspects of the topic. I believe that the thought, experiences, and expertise of our four eminent speakers will definitely enrich us. That is, the conference will enlighten us and must provide us with approaches to deal with the problems of tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who made this conference possible with their opinions and views. Thank you, Dr. Subhabrata De, Head Department of Commerce; Sandip Mollik, IQAC Coordinator; Dr. Meenal Kanti Das and Momita Rai, Joint Convener of this conference, to organize this conference during this pandemic situation. Again, I welcome you all to this conference and hope that all will have a great time ahead. I heartily wish it success. Thank you, Momita.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request IQSC coordinator, Professor Sandeep Mallik. Sir, please say a few words regarding our conference.
Dignitaries present in this conference, my fellow colleagues and research scholars. Very good morning to you all. Located on the outskirts of Kolkata, Kachrapada College has been playing a leading role in the spread of higher education in Kachrapada and its adjoining areas since its inception in 1972. Although the college has some infrastructural limitations, the IQAC Kachrapada College encourages all kinds of faculty development programs, seminars, and conferences to improve the quality of teaching learning process and organizes such faculty development programs, seminars, and conferences on a regular basis. In August alone, IQAC has jointly organized 8 seminars of different levels with 5 departments of the college. This activity will continue in the future as well. IQAC has always believed that such FDPs, seminars, and conferences give the opportunity to share knowledge and experiences among all fellow educators and a result, develop a long and fruitful cooperation and friendship among them. Under the leadership of Dr. Subhabrato De, HOD Commerce, the Department of Commerce has made significant contribution in the field of higher education. Just as other teachers in the department are contributing to the teaching process, they are also playing a significant role in research and publications. I must congratulate and convey my gratitude to the joint conveners, Dr. Minal Kanti Das and Dr. Moumita Roy, for their tireless efforts in organizing this two-day international conference. And also Dr. Indrani Mujumdar, who is actively helping behind the scene in this seminar, also deserves praise. I extend my best wishes and gratitude to all the national and international academics who will share their knowledge and experiences in this two-day event. I also extend my best wishes and congratulations to all the academics and researchers who have participated in this seminar from different states of India and abroad. I hope that all of you will have two most interactive days of interesting and stimulating discussions.
Hello. Maybe some technical glitch. Hello.
Momita, you proceed.
Yes. Maybe some technical glitch in the hands of Mr. Sandeep sir. So thank you, Sandeep sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Minal Kanti Das, convener of the conference, for the vote of thanks of inaugural sessions.
A warm and cherished morning to our most valued honorable guest, Professor Suat Tekar, Professor Amolendu Bhunia, Professor S.S. Mohapatro, respected Principal Sir Dr. Pranab Kumar Bera, respected Head of the Department, Commerce, Dr. Subhabrato De, respected IQAC Coordinator, Professor Sandeep Mallik, and our most distinguished guest. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard to make this event really difficult. So today's conference is on contemporary issues in accounting, finance, and management. Owing to globalization and rapid technological changes over the past few decades, this topic has become very relevant now. Today, we are honored to have 4 eminent speakers from academia to share their knowledge on the same topic. Professor Suat Tekar is from Turkey. So we express our sincere thanks to him for accepting our invitation to act as a chief guest and resource person in this conference. Thank you very much, sir, for your gracious presence in this event. I will fail in my duty if I do not put on record my deep appreciation for Professor Dr. Amolendu Bhuiya for his cooperation behind organizing this conference. He has been an inspiration to us in guiding this event. Your guidance and encouragement has given a new impetus to our work. I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to the respected Professor S.S. Mohapatro for gracing this occasion. We are extremely grateful to you, sir. We are deeply grateful to the principal, sir, for gracing this occasion, leaving aside his many assignments. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Dr. Shubhabroto De, Head, Department of Commerce, for his continuous support in organizing this event. I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to my colleague, Professor Shondip Mollik, Coordinator IQAC Kashrapara College, for the initiative he took in holding this event. My sincere thanks also goes to Professor Moumita Roy for her initiative and anchoring this session. I also want to thank the people who worked behind the scene to execute this event, our technical support team for organizing this event. And last but not the least, I want to convey my thanks to the audience, our students, and the colleagues of other departments for their patient hearing. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Mineral sir. Now, I wind up our inaugural sessions here and we straight to enter our today's pre-lunch session. In the today's first session, we have two guest speakers, Professor Dr. Suat Tekar and Professor Dr. Amolendu Bhuiya. Our 1 minute, I want to share something. Due to network, it will take some time. This way.
Hello, Momita, there is some problem.
না না স্যার একটু টাইম লাগছে নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু আছে না একটু দাঁড়ান
So you can share your PPT with me.
wait. Due to some network issue, it will take some time.
So can you share your slide with me? Then
It will also take time, sir.
I will share.
Yes, Meenal, please share it.
Please start.
Meenal, share it.
May I start the session? Okay.
Moumita, start the speaker.
Okay, sir. Professor So our first speaker, Dr. Suat Taker. Professor Taker graduated from Istanbul Technical University, Department of Management Engineering in 1986. He was awarded with a government scholarship to study for a master's and PhD degree in the United States. He completed his master's in accounting in 1989 in University of Toledo, Ohio, then completed his second master degree in economics in 1992 in University of New Orleans, Louisiana. He was awarded with a PhD in financial economics in 1994 in University of New Orleans. He has taught various courses in the area of economics, accounting, finance, and entrepreneurship in University of New Orleans, State University of New York, Bilkent University, Istanbul Technical University, Istanbul Okan University, and ISIC University. He served as a Dean of School of Business, Department Head, Director of Graduate School in various periods and universities. He is the Editor-in-Chief of Journal of Economics, Finance and Accounting, Research, Journal of Business and Management, and Press Academia Procedure. He has 45 articles published in International Index Journal, 16 articles published in National Journal, 46 papers presented in international conference, and 42 papers presented in national conference. So he also the author of 3 books. Now I hand over the session Dr. Suat Taker. Sir, please.
And thank you, Professor. Let me put up my paper on the system. Hide, sharing. I'm trying to be successful to upload the paper. For a second, please.
Sir, just few minutes.
Okay, it's coming up right now. No, it didn't work. I'll try to do that again.
Sir, may I help you, sir? Sir, kindly you share your PPT with us by mail. Then Mrinal sir can present your PPT.
Okay. I think I
Momita,
got it.
Yes, yes.
so after sharing this PPT, so you share this PPT with me, okay?
Sharing.
Okay, just
Professor
As you are using seminar,
Professor Taker,
sir, kindly you share your PPT with us.
Sure. I'm mailing you. Hold on for a second.
Mrinal sir, please. Oh, I will send you the.
Okay. You should be getting my email in a couple of seconds.
Yes. Yes, sir. I'm waiting. Yes, sir. I got it.
You got it? Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So you can share
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
to my mail ID.
Yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir. Mrinal sir, please check. You got the mail? Mrinal sir?
Okay. Would you do it in full screen, please?
Mrinal sir, slides. Mrinal sir, please click.
Mrinal, please put it in slideshow mode.
Press F5. Press F5 for full screen.
Sir, may I try?
Press F5 for full screen.
Mrinal sir, may I try?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So I am.
Just give me 5 minutes, okay?
Sure.
মৌমিতা দি
Yes, yes. আমি করে দেবো পিনাকি।
ওকে ওকে ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে যদি প্রবলেম হয় বলো আমি আছি
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে
ওকে
একটু খালি নেটওয়ার্কটা আমার স্লো হয়ে গেছে আজকে
তাহলে পিনাকিকে দিয়ে দাও
না না স্যার হয়ে যাচ্ছে করে দিচ্ছি একটু টাইম লাগছে শুধু পাচ্ছি It is visible?
Yes, visible.
slideshow
সাইড স্লোতে একটা প্রবলেম হচ্ছে সাইড স্লো অপশনটা দেখাচ্ছে না এটাই হচ্ছে প্রবলেম
আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি তো এখান থেকে
হ্যাঁ ওখানে দেখাচ্ছে কিন্তু এখানে পিপিটি ওপেন করলে দেখাচ্ছে না ওয়েট পিনাকিকে আমি শেয়ার করছি। পিনাকি,
Madam, you can convert the PPT into PDF and then you can show it.
no, I share it to Pinaki. One minute. Pinaki, your mail ID?
pinaki@kpcall.ac.in.
Pinaki@kpcall. Pinaki, please check it.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Got the
Mail.
PPT.
Not visible, Pinaki. Pinaki, PPT is not visible.
पाँच मिनट दाओ, 5 मिनट. I think some problem in the formation of the PPT. That's why it's... Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Professor Swartekar sir, can sir kindly
Okay.
you present your lecture?
Okay. Would you flip the pages or I can do that?
No, no, sir. Pinaki actually handle the total PPT. You just say him when you need to change the pages of the PPT. You just instruct him. When you require the next page, you just instruct him. He will change the PPT.
Okay. Now I'm ready to do my presentation. And thanks for the invitation of your conference as a keynote speaker once again. The conference named International E-Conference on Contemporary Issues in Accounting, Finance, and Management. I hope you're going to find my presentation interesting. Would you please? Okay, this is the scope of my presentation today. Initially, I would like to present some statistics about COVID-19 pandemic. And then I would like to talk about what we have in Industry 4.0 to Industry or Society 5.0. It is a case still being argued nowadays, and I would like to present my ideas about this transition. Then next, I would like to do a definition of wealthy people. Who are the people we define as wealthy people? And how much wealth is sufficient to be defined as a wealthy people? Then, what kind of effects the pandemic had on wealthy individuals? Did they get richer or did they get poorer? And then I'd like to spend a couple of words what kind of effects of pandemics on global poverty. And finally, some effects of COVID-19 on the societies. Would you please?
Pinaki, next.
Would you please?
Pinaki, next slide.
Okay. What we know, some popular or known pandemics in the near past. SARC happened to be in 2003. And this disease killed actually total up to date 774 people, and it's originated in China. HIV came out in 2005 and up to date killed 36 million approximately, and it's originated in Congo. And MARS, a new disease, happened to be in 2012, and up to date killed 941 people and originated in Middle East. And finally, COVID-19 came out at the end of 2019, originated in China, and so far killed approximately 4.5 million people. These numbers by mid of August. And if you see some other statistics, considering continents, population, the cases of COVID-19, and how many people killed in each of these continents. American continent, North and South American, population is about 1 billion people. Europe in total have 748 million people. Asia Pacific is more than 4.6 billion people. Africa, populated by 1.3 billion people, and total population of the world is 7.7 billion people as of 2020. And consider the percentage distribution of the population of these continents. 13% of the people living in the American continents, about 10% living in Europe, 60% living in Asia Pacific, and 17% living in the continent of Africa. And if you consider the number of cases, 38% of the cases happen to be in American continent. 30% of the cases happen to be in Europe. 28% happen to be Asia Pacific. Africa had cases only 2.60% of the whole cases in the world. And if you check out the figures, how many people died, how many people are killed by COVID-19, more than 2 million people killed by COVID in American continent. And the number of people are killed by COVID, 1.2 million people in Europe. Asia Pacific had about 1 million killed, and Africa 130,000 killed, and total number of people killed by this disease exactly 4,430,697. If you check the distribution of percentages over these continents, 46% of the people killed only in American continent. 46, almost half of the people. And 28% of the people killed in Europe, 21% Asia Pacific, only 2.95% killed in Africa. If you check out the figures, only
set up slideshow. Browsed by an individual. Browsed by an individual.
Sir, please mute yourself.
Okay. If you check out another figure for infection rates of COVID-19, I started taking the statistics. The disease started in January 2020. This is combined from World Health Organization. And then every other month, January, February, May, July, September, November, January 2020, March 2021, May 2021, and July 2021. And see the distribution of continents. American continent at 82.8% of the infection rate. And this is per 1,000 people. And Europe, 80% per 1,000 people. And Asia and Africa figures looks to be very small. Maybe it is argued that these numbers coming from Asia and Africa may not show the real numbers. But statistics show that the infection rates in the line figure you can see is coming sharply up in American continent and in Europe compared to other continents. Next figure, please. Vaccination rates for COVID-19 and seeing how fast people are vaccinated in South America and North America, in Europe. As of July 2021, we can see almost half of the people are vaccinated in these continents, South America, North America, and Europe. But the percentage of the people vaccinated in Asia is only 28%, and Africa is only 3.51%. And if you see the line graph, you can see right after the invention of vaccination, the vaccination rate increased sharply, especially in American continent and in European continent. In recent months, after June, July, and August, Asia started up quickly, but African continent is still very low rate in vaccination. Flip the page, please. And how many people killed by COVID-19? And these are the percentage rates. How many people get infected, and what is the percentage of those people died after getting the infection? The rates, the final rates, July 2021 in American continent is 2.61%. Every person, every 100 person getting diseased COVID-19, only 2.61% of those people are killed by COVID. And the rate for Europe is a little bit lower. It's only 2.03%. In Asia is 1.48%. In Africa, we can see it's quite high, 2.37%. If you see the graph right there, we can see the killing rate. It's maximized somewhere in March, April, and May 2020. And after the invention of vaccination, the death rate is got down quickly. Flip the page, please. Over the history of mankind, we have experienced many breakthroughs, such as discovery of American continent, the first step on the moon, and etc. These are all breakthroughs for mankind. And some of these breakthroughs have been considered to be cornerstones for the mankind after a number of years or hundreds of years, such as French Revolution. It happened, and a couple of hundred years later, historians said, okay, this has to be a start of a new age, such as conquest of Istanbul. And similarly, some inventions have been defined to be industrial breakthroughs by the industrial historians. such as invention of steam engine. That was a big breakthrough. Differently, Industry 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 were not identified with a breakthrough invention, but presumed a start of a new area. And now I can discuss, if you share my idea, how about Industry 5.0? Are we still away from Industry 5.0, or we are getting about to close? And next page, please. Okay. This is actually a summary of all industrialization eras, starting from Industry 1.0 to Industry 4.0. This is my own production, and I combined lots of pieces of information together, and then I was able to prepare this table. And hundreds of years later, historians define that industrial revolution started with the invention of steam engine. It was in 1784 by James Watt, a British engineer. Actually, he was a Scottish. And in this area, lots of other developments came out quickly. For example, because of invention of steam engine, there was a high demand for iron and coal. Therefore, because of meeting those needs, colonialism started to happen in the world. Why? Because those countries industrialized or faced at the beginning of industrial revolutions needed more coal and iron and other raw materials. Because of high production capacity, especially in textile industry, those countries started to look for new markets. That's what some of the motives of colonialism. And then emergence of labor rights and unionism happened to be there. In 1801, the first steam car invented by Richard Trevithick. And then 1812, the first invention of locomotive by Matthew Murray. Then electric motor is invented by Michel Faraday, 1821. Then telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse in 1834. There was no strict line stating that the Industrial Revolution 1.0 is ended and the second Industrial Revolution started. Approximately somewhere in between 1870 and 1970, it's about 100-year period, we suppose Industrial Revolution 2.0 happened. What characterized this area is simply use of electricity machinery for manufacturing, and plus having mass production. In that era, Graham Bell, 1876, invented telephone, and Thomas Edison, 1882, invented electricity and light bulb, and Hertz, 1898, invented radio, and then Henry Ford, 1902, invented production line. And also Wright brothers, these are French, invented the first airplane, 1903. Then World War I started in between 1914 and 1918. Then right after the World War I, a British engineer, John Baird, invented TV in 1923. Then invention of radar came out, but by William Buttermont in 1931. And invention of radar played an important critical role in World War II. World War II happened in 1939 and 1945. It's about the end of World War II, the first mainframe computers are invented. First, invented in Britain, named Colossus, 1944. A second one, only 2 years after that, built a new computer by Americans called ENIAC in 1946. An Industry Revolution 3.0 is characterized by automation system in production. Not just use of electricity, but now we can use more computers, computerized production. And this era has happened to be characterized in 40 years. Approximately Industry Revolution 1.0 and 2.0 took 100 years each. But Industrial Revolution 3.0 happened to be only lasted in 40 years. What other important things happened in Industrial Revolution 3.0? First, invented microprocessors in 1971. And right after that, Steve Jobs invented Apple, named Mac 1 in 1976. IBM introduced its first PC, personal computer, in 1981. And Motorola introduced its first cellular phone, mobile phone, in 1983. Then Commodore 64 is invented as the first portable computer in 1984. And then the first patent for tablet computers taken in 1988. And Google came out in 1998. And first iPhone introduced in 2007, and first Android telephone operating system introduced 2008. And then we presumed Industry 4.0 started with the report, a German report, and in December 2010. That's why in some publications say that Industry 4.0 started in year 2010. In some others may say it started in year 2011 because of this report. And a couple of years, not exactly this report published, and people said, okay, Industrial Revolution 4.0 started, but not like that. Only a couple of years later, people recognized that we can take this as the cornerstone of Industrial Revolution 4.0. What we can include in this era, we had 3D technology on TVs and cinemas also. And we introduced smart TVs, OLED TVs, high definition TVs, 8K TVs, social media exploded, e-commerce exploded and changed the rules of businesses and the behaviors of people deeply. And we introduced supersonic trains, and ecological farming became very popular. And also we use more technology in education. And cloud systems are introduced. And cybersecurity became very important. Autonomous robots are commonly used in many industries. And clean energy also is a popular case. And as we know, big data, use of big data. If you can analyze all those kind of data, you can gain a strong competitive power. Would you please next? What COVID-19 caused the change? COVID-19 pandemic actually fit the process of needed changes into 1 or 2 years. Instead of this span may take 5 to 10 years, but COVID-19 highly shortened the process, actually, the period. If it wasn't the COVID-19, wouldn't this change or transition take place anyway? I think yes, only it would take more time. In addition to COVID-19, we can consider what other factors actually forced these changes. Not just the COVID-19, but some other factors actually forced all these changes, what we faced in the last 2 years. Would you please change? Move? Okay. In general, number of dramatic changes over the last 5 years we have experienced, and still a fast ongoing process, what we experienced over the last 5 years. Digitalization increased. It's in everywhere. No stop. Competition increased. You do not just to compete with your neighbors, but you have to compete with the world. Environmental awareness increased. Consumers or user demands have changed. They demand something else compared to last 10 years. Social networks expanded, and the number of social networks increased. Better, cheaper, and accessible technology has reached to everyone. Each producer or consumer demand more value for their money. That's why competition is very tough. Would you please move? What other changes in business operations? And businesses demand for more innovations from employees, from engineers, from research and development departments. And their investment in technology increased. Adoption speed for new processors and technologies is increased. Now they can adapt faster. Supply chains for production and delivery have been improved. Decentralization has been strengthened. More robotics started to use in production, and more artificial intelligence started to use in operations. And finally, unit production costs decreased because of more automation and artificial intelligence. How about working life? Now we have flexible working hours and flexible working places. We can work part-time basis. We can work at home office style of working. And you can do all kind of working things while you are mobile. You're moving away by using your mobile phones. And this caused more delegation of authority. And the ways of doing businesses finally have changed. And company and group meetings could be done by using Zoom and some other networks. And sales, advertising, delivery, and order systems also changed for the way of doing businesses. Would you please change? Okay. Meanwhile, what happened to consumers? Also, consumers changed their habits. Entertaining, traveling and transportation, eating and dining, and shopping, and all these activities, mostly we can conduct most of it now by sitting at home. And brand loyalty is much less compared to a couple of years back. And each consumer now seek a call center solutions for their problems. Don't deal with lots of bureaucratic steps, but just call some people and solve your problems. Would you please? And also, academic life has changed. And we use more technology in universities now. Therefore, universities had to invest more in technology. And using more technology, we had lots of time savings. And therefore, we saved lots of unproductive time. And we have now flexible teaching hours. We can teach in the night. As we do now, we can do the conference over the weekend. And motivation and more effort for self-learning. And this more use of technology happened to be released that as educators, we have some deficiencies and technology in teaching skills. So it was released, it came out after more use of technology. The educators needed more technology skills. And we had to do lots of e-event organizing, meetings, graduation ceremonies, congresses, seminars, and etc. Would you please? Why year 2020 may be a new breakthrough? COVID-19 strongly affected the behaviors of all actors, businesses, governments, consumers, students, educators, and administrators. The consumers has preferred to eat, work, entertaining, and get educated at home. And providers of goods and services have adopted many innovative ways for all kinds of operations: production, selling, marketing, payment system management, and employment. Traditional education system has almost replaced by online systems overnight. Hence, all business models were to be adjusted or replaced accordingly. Nevertheless, all these caused a redistribution of wealth in the world, saying poor got poorer and rich got richer. Would you please? Okay. This table actually summarizes what I just talked about, the breakthroughs with COVID-19. That's why all these factors on the left-hand side, COVID-19 and other forcing factors, forced the change. Therefore, in some years away, year 2020 may be identified as the start of new era. I call it Industry 5.0. And this actually had a breakthrough in all areas: operations of companies, working life, consumers' behaviors, and education system. Would you please? Okay. The effect of COVID-19 on wealth distribution in the world had a strong effect. Although there is no clear definition who the wealthy people are or how much wealth is enough to be a wealthy individual. And some common ideas appeared in the annual reports of international private banking sectors and also some academic literature in recent years. I used these knowledge in the literature and I reclassified all these categories of wealthy people. Nowadays, most people supported the idea that COVID-19 has dramatically changed almost everything. and the wealth distribution of the world is one of them. This table shows how we can categorize the wealthy individuals. The first category includes a wealthy people having a wealth amount, total wealth amount between $1 to $30 million. We call them high net worth individuals. The second category, we call it ultra high net worth individuals. Their wealth in between 30 million to 1 billion American dollars. And finally, billionaires, each one owns more than $1 billion. How do we define personal wealth? The definition is simple: market value of all assets they have minus market value all liabilities. What kind of assets should be included in the wealth definition? Real estate, cash, financial assets, valuable objects and collectibles, and etc. And how about liabilities? All that you own, mortgages, loans, taxes, and all charges should be deducted from your total assets. Then it will present your personal net worth. Would you please? This table shows by regions in the world how many high net worth individuals we have, the numbers, how many. And we can see in total figures in the world in 2018, almost 47 million people we have having a net worth of $1 to $30 million. 2019, the figure is increased almost to 53 million people. And 2020, we see the figure decline to 49.5 million people. And next graph on the right-hand side, you can see that most of those wealthy people located in North America, Europe, and almost close to Europe in Asia. Move on, please. The number of ultra high net worth individuals owning a wealth between 30 million up to $1 billion. Total number of people, 458,000 in year 2018. This figure increased to 509,000 in year 2019 and 617,000 in year 2020. We can see there is an increased trend in the number of ultra high net worth individuals. In the previous one, the wealth amount between $1 to $30 million, the number of people decreased in year 2020, but number of ultra high net worth individuals increased by 108,000 from year 2019 to year 2020. But 88,000 of those out of 108,000 coming from North America and Europe. Move on, please. And this table shows how many billionaires we have in the world. In year 2018, we had only 2,604 billionaires. And next year, the number of billionaires increased 2,825. And year 2020, the total number of billionaires increased to 3,288. You can see the number of billionaires we are having in the world is in increasing trend. how much wealth accumulated those billionaires and how much the wealth increased in those years. In the first category, high net worth individuals increased the wealth from 2018 to 2019 by 13%. But in the COVID era, the wealth of those people decreased by almost 7%. Ultra high net worth individuals in COVID era, they increased their net worth by 11% and 21% each year. Billionaires, they also increased their net worth in COVID era by 8% in year 2019 and 18% year 2020. Next, please. What about the 10 richest individuals in the world? They are not just billionaires, but they are much richer than standard billionaires. And this table shows who are the top 10 richest people in the world in year 2020, 2019, and 2018. The richest guy in the world, Jeff Bezos, having a wealth of almost $191 billion in year 2020. Previous year, he had only $131 billion. In the previous year, he had only $112 billion. The second guy, Elon Musk, in year 2020 had $169 billion. Bill Gates, $132 billion. Bernard Arnold, $114 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, $104 billion. Warren Buffett, $98 billion. Larry Page, $82 billion. Steve Ballmer, $80 billion. Sergey Brin, almost $80 billion. Larry Ellison, $79.6 billion. Add them up. Only these 10 richest people had $1.1 trillion wealth. Compared to previous year, their total wealth is only $743 billion. In year 2018, it was almost the same amount. If you see the percentage increase from 2018 to 2019 and 2019 to 2020, it was an increase in 21.6% in year 2018. It didn't change in year 2019, but important in COVID era, 10 richest billionaires increased their wealth by 52% in year 2020. Total wealth of billionaires in the world, $11.4 trillion in year 2020. And total wealth of billionaires increased 21.28% in the COVID era. 10 richest guys increased their wealth by 52% over the last year, but total billionaires increased their wealth by 21.28%. The average wealth of billionaires is $3.5 billion for year 2020. Next, please. Now, we can see the list of 10 richest people's wealth starting from year 2000, ending year 2020. And we see in year 2000, the 10 richest people had $275 billion of net worth. In later year, 2001, it was decreased slightly by 3% to $267 billion. In later years, we can see the largest increase in wealth in year 2010. It was reported to be 35% compared to the previous year. But if you check out the figures in year 2010, it's $342 billion. It is an increase by 35% compared to the previous year, to $253 billion, year 2009. But actually, it was just a recovery of the loss happened to be in year 2008. And overall, if you check out the growth rate in year between 2001 and 2019, just before the COVID era, annual average growth rate is only 7%. In the last year, in COVID era period, it's 52%. As we can see, with the COVID era, the wealth distribution in the world changed significantly. Would you please move? What happened to the GDP of the world and per capita GDP? The GDP, world GDP in year 2020 is happened to be $84.5 trillion. Actually, which is less than the year 2018. In that date, year 2018, the world GDP happened to be $86.4 trillion. The world population increased meanwhile. It was 7.6 billion people in year 2018. Now we have 7.7 billion people in year 2020. And check out the GDP per capita in the world, taking the average of world GDP divided by the number of people living on the earth, then we see world GDP is happened to be $11,313 in the world in year 2018. Then it was the same amount in year 2019, but it decreased in year 2020 to $10,845 per person. I switched the numbers. Hold on for a second. I switched the numbers a little bit, and I excluded North America and Europe. How excluded? The number of population increase excluded about 1 billion people, and amount of GDP of North America and Europe excluded. Therefore, I reported world star line, world star. That line states that the world GDP excluding North America and Europe. In that case, you check out the GDP per capita, the rest of the world, excluding the rich countries. It's $5,698 per person in year 2018. It increased little bit to $6,213 in year 2019, and it decreased considerably in year 2020. And next, please. And we see the growth rates on this table. We see the world GDP increased by 1% in year 2019, but decreased by 3.3% in year 2020. And the world population grew by 1.1% in the world. But excluding the rich countries, the population grew faster in less developed part in the world. It's 1.2%. And GDP per capita for those countries, in the whole world, in year 2020, GDP per capita decreased by 4.3%. But excluding North America and Europe, GDP per capita decreased almost by 12%. That means the poor part of the world got poorer. Next, please. This shows OECD unemployment rates. We can see it's about 5% just before the COVID era. During the COVID era, the unemployment rates almost hit the 9%. Now it's somewhere between 6 to 7%. It's still much higher than the pre-COVID era. Next, please. It shows the extreme poverty in the world. Extreme poverty is defined by the World Bank having 1.9 US dollars per day. 1.9 US dollar per day. That's extreme poverty definition. The graph on the right-hand side shows, the red line shows what happened in reality. In the blue line shows what is predicted. Before COVID-19, World Bank predicted that the number of extreme poverty people would have 577 million in the world, almost 500 million people. But in the COVID era, the number of extreme poverty people increased 679 million. And next, please. And this table shows who are those poor people, where they are living. Those people living less than by $3.2 per day. Number of those people, 176 million. And most crowded people having $3.2 per day living in South Asia, 115 million of them. Only 1 million of those people living in North America. And you see in some other locations, for example, East Asia and Pacific region, we have 19 million, and Sub-Saharan Africa, 23 million people and there. Next, please. And this graph shows the Gini index. And I'm sure all academicians are very familiar with the Gini index. Gini index shows the income equality. If the index figure gets closer to 1, means everyone has equal income. Getting closer to 1 shows better income distribution, and leaving 1 showing less equal income distribution. And this table shows starting in 1820 up to 2020. In the first era, I rounded with a red line, showing that the Gini index started in 1820 with a figure of 0.60, then increased up to 0.70 over a 100-year period. In the last 100 years, between 1900 to 2000, it moved up and down a little bit around 0.70. And from year 2000 to 2020, now it's again in a decrease trend. It shows income inequality is again increasing. And the lowest figure in year 2020 is 0.67. Next, please. What about the social impacts of the COVID era? Previously depicted changes in the pattern of global wealth distribution already had and may continue to have numerous repercussions for the world's social order. A deterioration in global economic index we faced. It used to be the global index 5.48 in year 2018, and now it's 5.37. Index figure is getting down. A deterioration in the quality of education, especially concentrated in less developed countries, affecting 1.6 billion students. And we have a rise in food security in the developing part of the world. A global decline in human rights, especially the lockdown restrictions. Global decline in gender equality with drastic rises in domestic violence. Next, please. Conclusions. Year 2020 may be considered as year of global catastrophe. Unemployment and poverty have risen while the world GDP declined by 3.3%. The people living in the poor part of the world lost almost 12% of their income per capita. Wealth inequality rose drastically. Ultra high net worth individuals and billionaires' wealth reached all-time high, representing the highest percentage of the global GDP than ever. The top 10 billionaires had 0.8% of the world GDP in year 2019, but now in year 2020, they hold 1.6% of the world GDP. Next, please. Income inequality is forecasted to rise further in the coming years. Gini index of global income inequality was 0.72 in year 2000, and now it's 0.67 in year 2020. As inequality increased, major social issues arose. Democracy is in decline, extremism is on rise, human rights are in decline, food security is in decline. As inequality in all areas continues to rise, it is expected social cohesion will continue to deteriorate. Next, please. Final words. Rich got richer, poor got poorer, and this trend is expected to continue. Next, please. And thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. Sir has spoken extensively the statistical dimension of vaccinations, death rate during the pandemic period. He also explained the effect of pandemic on wealth distribution and as a whole the effect of pandemic on society. We express our sincere gratitude to him for sharing his views with us on a topic of such contemporary issues at present time. Once again, thank you, sir, for your wonderful sessions.
That's my
Participants,
pleasure.
if you have any questions, we conduct the joint question answer session after the keynote session of Professor Dr. Amolendu Bhuiya. Now, I would like to invite our second keynote speaker, Professor Amolendu Bhuiya, for this session. Professor Dr. Amolendu Bhuiya is a professor, Department of Commerce and Dean, Faculty of Arts and Commerce, University of Kalyani. He obtained first class first in his graduation and master degree program with a specialization in accounting and finance from the University of Calcutta. He has awarded his Masters of Philosophy and the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the area of finance. And he has also completed the postgraduate degree in financial management. He has experience in teaching the subject of finance, taxation, and statistics for more than 22 years. He has published 1009 research articles and 9 books, national and international repute. At present, his Google Scholar citation is 1327 with an H index of 20. He has completed 2 major and 2 minor research projects funded by the University Grants Commissions India and the Indian Council of Social Science Research. His research interests are in the financial market, corporate finance, international finance, and behavioral finance. He has presented 52 research papers at various national and international conferences. Presently, he is serving as a member of the editorial board in 22 international journals. He served as an editor-in-chief, American Journal of Theoretical and Applied Business for 2 years. Now he is an editor-in-chief, Indo-Asian Journal of Finance and Accounting. Dr. Bhuya acted as a keynote speaker in 46 national and 20 international and 10 foreign conferences. Also, he acted as a keynote speaker in China, Turkey, UK, Nigeria, and Bangladesh. He acted as a chairperson in various national and foreign conferences, including Thailand and Bangladesh. He is specialized as a resource person in the subject of research methodology and statistical analysis on quantitative data. 5 research scholars have awarded the PhD degree and 7 scholars have awarded the MPhil degree under his supervisions. Sir, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, your presentation, you share it or we?
No. You.
Okay. Okay, sir. I'm sharing.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Momita Rai, joint convener of the conference, International E-Conference on Contemporary Issues in Accounting, Finance and Management.
Sir, it is visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay.
Yes. And now very good afternoon to everyone. Respected Principal, Dr. Pranab Bera, Kachnapada College, India. Respected convener, joint conveners, Dr. Mrinal Kanti Das and Dr. Momita Roy. Respected HOD, Dr. Shubhobroto De and IQAC coordinator of Kachnapada College, Sandip Mollik and other teachers of the Department of Commerce and also other teachers of the college. Teachers, participants from different parts of India and abroad, and my co-speaker, respected Professor Dr. Suat Tekar, has completed a wonderful keynote session on the COVID-19 and wealth distribution. Research scholars participated in the conference, and other delegates. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to talk about COVID-19 impact. COVID-19 impact on the United stock market, United States, US stock market, and basically South Asian stock market, to compare the performance of the stock market between the economic giant US stock market and other Asian stock markets, selected Asian stock markets. Before going to the impact, we all know the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the global financial markets. I'm not talking about the history, because Professor Taker has nicely elaborated and explained the history of COVID-19 and how much infected cases around the globe and how many killed through the COVID-19. I won't make any comment on the particular issue. I'm not repeating the particular case. Because the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the global financial markets. As a result, we expect to find increased market interconnectedness due to herding behavior. Because of herding behavior. Herd behavior is a phenomenon where individuals act collectively, not using their own information. This behavior is basically observed in financial market during the earlier century, especially during crisis, and also in the present century, when irrationality, please hold on, when irrationality prevails. The negative news about the spread of COVID-19 and overall negative sentiment affected investor psychology and led to intense trading behavior in the market. Continuous, what I can say, revisions of economic growth forecasts and heightened risk aversion, combined with extreme uncertainty about the future development of the pandemic, have resulted in extreme volatility in stock markets and other markets for risky assets. At the end of February 2020, the financial market entered a phase of risk aversion with significantly increasing volatility across the market. Stock markets began to decline rapidly, losing about 30% of its market value within weeks, with the sell-off speeding up faster than the global financial crisis, 2008, only because of COVID-19 fear. Overall, stock market have responded negatively to COVID-19 pandemic and recovered somewhat after the bailout program was announced by each and every country. Next, please, the slide. Please go to the slide. Therefore, assessing the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on stock markets is very much important, is imperative, because we find that the spillover effects are not constant over time. If we see the figure of stock market during the COVID time, during the year 2020, and also in the second wave 2021, we find that spillover effects are changing. Also, we find that the impact spillover for both the stock market returns and volatility varies with time, impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. Next slide. We make two contributions in the literature before going to the theory. First one, return contagion and volatility contagion in market increase during crisis. We can assess it. And also, during the COVID-19 pandemic, since financial markets are more interconnected, such that market effects spill over. Therefore, assessment is very much important to show the impact of, for showing the impact of COVID-19 on the stock market. What I have considered in the US stock market because of economic giant and our Asian stock selected Asian stock markets. What we know, the theory, that means researchers found that the stock market volatility has been increased around the globe and adversely affect the global economic growth. We know the result. The negative relationship between future market volatility and its fundamental market return will be the interest of the academicians, researchers, investors, forecasters. Two theories I would like to mention. First one, the equity value of the firm turns into a small fraction of the entire firm value when the firm shrinks. we know the result because of lockdown and physical distancing policy. Then the equity shareholders accept the whole firm's risk. Consequently, the volatility of equity rises. The second theory tells that if the future return shrinks when volatility reduces, the current market returns will go down to hold the future beliefs. Because higher volatility entails higher capital cost, increases the value of the offset to weight, and interrupting investments. Stock market volatility has been increased extensively by a mixture of some economic fundamentals, some macroeconomic indicators, a consequential economic downturn, and uncertainty, contiguous government incentive measures. The market volatility in asset prices has been increased, though the large risk of an international downturn and its impact on corporate profitability, structural market returns, say for example, strained sales by reason of deleveraging, fear, and economic uncertainty. This impact is greatly reflected in the stock market performance. It is obvious by reason of estimated losses as well as the volatility of the stock markets. So there is a call for both fiscal and monetary policy interferences and financial support to guard human health, economic losses, and protect the financial strength of the stock markets. Next slide. This is the scenario of the global stock markets, considering the imported stock market during the period of COVID-19, and almost what we have seen that we see that almost all the stock markets are fluctuating during the COVID period. Starting from the year 2020 and also up to the month of July 2021, because we have experienced two waves. First wave, if we consider the first wave starting from January to 30th November, and second wave from February to July. Therefore, I have considered the particular graph, what is the impact of, what will be the impact in the future of COVID-19 on the stock market. Next slide. Lots of research papers, research theses have been made regarding the impact of COVID-19 on world stock market. Also, I have seen a lot of research papers where researchers make out the stock market volatility, the impact of stock market volatility, whether it is based on the developed stock market, also emerging stock market, also African region, also continent-wise research paper have been completed and published. Paper I have seen the impact of COVID-19 on the stock markets, and researchers show that basically COVID-19 has increased the stock market volatility. That means it will impact the psychology of the investors, international investors. At the same time, along with the psychological impact, the COVID-19 pandemic fear also affect the investors' mind by way of diversification. When to invest, how much to invest, where to invest. In this way, diversification, COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected the diversification factor also. And at the same time, some researchers show that the COVID-19, there is no impact of COVID-19 in stock market because in different stock market country, I have seen here, I have presented only 11 stock market, but I have studied personally 45 stock markets. And I have seen that in few stock market, there is no impact. There is no impact of COVID-19 on the stock market, particular country stock market. Also, the COVID-19 pandemic has no impact on the stock market volatility, has no effect, has no impact on the diversification, or has no impact on the investor psychology. But if you consider some important stock market, a large stock market in the Asian region or in the US or some European stock market, I have seen that COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected the investors' mind and also stock market volatility. Next. What we know in the Asian region,
Hello? Sir, not audible, sir. Hello?
Sir will be joining within a minute or two.
Okay, okay. স্যার কি ডিসকানেক্ট হয়ে গেছে? হ্যালো,
Yes, yes.
আমাকে একটু মেসেজ হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে একটু কমিউনিকেট করবে, কারণ আমি তারপর স্যারকে অ্যাডমিট করতে হবে। স্যার হ্যালো, হ্যালো অমলেন্দু স্যার। ওকে,
Am I audible?
yes sir, yes sir. Sir, PPT is visible.
No, no, no.
Wait sir.
Now visible, now
Okay,
visible.
okay sir. Okay sir, continue please.
I'm so sorry.
No sir, it is a technical glitch. Okay, no matter.
Here I have seen that from the database, the 10 largest stock markets I have considered and collected the data, time series data, and also I have collected the data from the US stock market, or US one stock market from the United States, to so that we can compare the stock market volatility or whether diversification of possible or not. And then all the values price index converted into the stock market return. Then all the return values are converted into natural logarithm to reduce irregularity and heteroscedasticity of the data, and the entire analysis has been what I have performed based on the log return data. To observe the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the selected stock markets of Asian countries and the US stock market, I have used scaling analysis, memory analysis actually, for persistency test, and also Garch model for checking whether there exists any volatility or not, or as well as the leverage effect. I have considered only one model, E-Garch model, not T-Garch. Only E-Garch model I have considered. Now, what is scaling analysis? Why I have considered the scaling analysis? What we know, the scaling analysis is useful to check the memory of the time series. And Hurst exponent is a useful measure of scaling analysis of a time series, and it can be obtained from the standard deviation. And that's why the particular analysis is also called the standard deviation analysis, one of the important forms of finite variance scaling method. Finite variance scaling method. And in if you consider the Hurst component between 0 to 1, if the value of a Hurst component 0.5 is the cutoff figure, indicates the random nature of the time series. If the result Hurst value is less than 0.5, this indicates anti-persistent behavior and is governed by a short memory. And if the H value is more than 5 to 1, this indicates the tendency of the time series towards persistent behavior, and the process will be long memory process. And in that case, the scaling analysis for natural log data corresponding to, I have considered 11 stock market, 10 stock markets from Asian countries, and one from the US stock market, whether they possesses short run memory, which is called the, I have just mentioned, anti-persistent, or long-term memory, which is called the persistent memory, or no memory. And the Hurst exponent value in all the stock market indicates, next slide. Yes, indicates greater than 0. That means there is some memory. And also, if you see the figure, all the Hurst exponent value of all the stock markets are greater than 0.5. This indicates long memory persistent, and this indicates that essential dependence between the present and past data. That is why scaling analysis is very, very important in the case of time series data, because the COVID-19 pandemic, whether there exists any impact of COVID-19 pandemic on stock market, 11 stock market or not, because I have used the present and past data, whether there exists any short run or long run, anti-persistent or persistent memory, our results show that Hurst exponent value is greater than 0.5 and very much greater than 0.5 and near almost more than 0.6. This indicates the essential dependence between the present and past data of all the selected stock market, including the US stock market. And if you consider, because our value is more than 0.5 or here 0.6, that leads uncertain behavior. That is very important. Uncertain behavior in terms of future predictability. That means there exists a great impact on the COVID-19 pandemic on the stock market, selected stock market. Now, next slide. Garch model. Why Garch models are important? Because of two reasons. I have already mentioned, I have already tested earlier. COVID-19 pandemic has increased the stock market volatility. Because COVID-19 has greatly impacted the stock market volatility, obviously has greatly affected the psychology of the psychological factors of the investors. Obviously, the investment, ultimately, COVID-19 pandemic has indirectly affected the investment amount also. And what we know, volatility is basically a statistical measure to analyze the stock market return. I have considered here stock market return. Volatility detects the phenomena when standard deviation of a time series changes over a period of time. It basically explains conditional heteroscedasticity. That means unequal variance. Conditional heteroscedasticity. Stock market volatility is time dependent, and volatility clustering occurs when periods of high volatility follow periods of low volatility, and also the vice versa. In the situation of any financial downturn, financial turmoil, financial crisis, as well as the corresponding negative shocks. The leverage effect is taken into should be taken into consideration, and at the same time, time-varying volatility models are very much needed, very much required to capture asymmetry in volatility due to positive and negative shocks, whether there exist any positive and negative shocks. If you think, if you see the results, and basically alpha, beta, and the sum of alpha, beta. Here, what we have, I have presented, and you see that in the case of BSE India, means Sensex, Bombay Stock Exchange India, the sum of alpha, beta, alpha is the arch effect, beta is the Garch effect, and alpha plus beta is the volatility effect. And if you see, the sum of alpha beta is, if it is equal to 1 or more, that means there exists a volatility. And out of 10 selected Asian stock market, only Bombay Stock Exchange, the sum of alpha beta is more than 1. That means there exists a volatility. And in other stock markets, the sum of alpha beta is less than 1. That means there is no volatility. If you see only the beta value, means the Garch effect, Garch effect is highest in United States and lowest in BSE stock market. I have considered 2 Indian stock market, 2 Chinese stock market. Due to, why? Due to varying conditional variance over time and their impact on unconditional variance. Determination of volatility, I have already mentioned the results of alpha plus beta. Indian stock market can be indicated by precedent volatility, which is persistent over time. And that means this indicates Indian stock market is volatility. Next slide. Egart's model. Please. Next slide. Egart. Yes. I have already I have seen that the Indian stock market is volatile. If you see the figure of the Egart's model, why Egart's model? Because my target is to assess whether there exists any leverage effect in the stock market or not. That's why I have used Egart's model for examining the leverage effect. Egart's and Tegart's model, both model are very important, but I have considered here only Egart's model for checking whether there exists any leverage impact or not. And the model tells that, the theory tells that the gamma parameter, if the gamma parameter is negative and significant, this indicates the presence of leverage effect, entailing positive information has lesser impact on conditional variance, and negative information has higher impact on conditional variance. This is that's why I have used EGARD's model. Just see the gamma parameter result. If you see the figure, only in the case of BSE and NSE stock market, why the gamma parameter is negative and significant. But in other stock markets, other 9 stock market, including one US stock market, the gamma parameter is not negative, positive and significant, or positive or insignificant. But in the Indian stock market, what I have seen that there exists a leverage effect. But interesting results come out in the National Stock Exchange in India. There is no volatility as per GARCH model, GARCH 1.1 model. But there exists a leverage effect. That means negative information is greatly impacted the conditional variance. That means we can say that bad news in terms of COVID-19 fear among the investors, international investors. Bad news produces higher volatility than good news in the Indian stock market, both in Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange, which is the result is a sum of alpha beta is higher than 1 and also greater than the other stock markets. At the same time, if we consider the EGARCH model, there exists a leverage effect. That means this indicates that in the case of Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE India is very sensitive to bad news because there exists a volatility and at the same time there exists a leverage effect. Now I am coming to the findings. Next slide. We have seen that I have considered only the scaling analysis, Hart's component value, and Hart's component value indicates that there exists a long memory that is persistent. GARCH 1.1 model tells that only in the case of Indian stock market, in the Bombay Stock Exchange of Indian stock market, there exists a volatility, and EGARCH model shows that there exists a leverage effect only in the case of both Indian stock exchanges. But next slide, last slide. My findings, what I have made in this analysis, my findings will help international investors to get an overall idea about market volatility in the Asia and the United States of America. At the same time, to think where to invest. As most of the stock markets are not volatile, diversification is also limited. Mind it. What I have considered here 11 stock market because most of the stock markets are not volatile. That means diversification is limited. And we all know our Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex value crossed 56,000 points, significant leverage effect. Should be careful and and take necessary steps in order to avoid market turmoil because of the COVID-19 era. My study is not free from limitations because I have not examined the causal relationship among the stock markets. What we have seen, US stock market, economic giant, stock market is not volatile. There does not exist any leverage effect. If you consider the Asian stock market, there does not exist any significant volatility and leverage effect. Only the exception is Indian stock market. And but I have not examined the causal relationship, whether there interdependency, there exists a interdependency or not. Then it will be a future research. If we consider the causal relationship, considering the co-integration and causal model, we can easily understand, examine whether there exists any interconnection or interdependence among the selected stock market. And if these variables are methods also, what I have mentioned here, methods are measured including the impulse response and variance decomposition, then these methods and variables are considered. Variables means not only the stock market return, also consider some economic fundamentals at a time. It will be a very motivating. There may be a motivating result in this perspective, and your analysis will indicate whether international investors will invest in the particular country stock market or not. There will be an interesting study in the future if you can consider the variables and methods what I have mentioned. Thank you very much. Thanks to the organizer for giving me an opportunity to act as a keynote speaker, a second as keynote speaker in your esteemed college. Thanks to the convener, joint convener. Thanks to the principal and my very good friend, my Professor Dr. Stuart Taker. And thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This session is very much interesting, informative, and related to the present scenario in stock market. We further extend our heartily thanks to him for sharing his valuable thought with us. Now, participant, if you have any question and any doubts, you may ask for both the sessions, for Professor Stuart Taker or maybe Professor Amalandu Bhaiya. If you have any queries or any doubts.
I think there are no questions.
Hello. Hello.
Sir, bolun sir.
I have a very first I very thankful to Amalandu Bhuya for his excellent presentation, and totally depend on databases, and it is very much helpful for us and future researchers also. I have a query, sir, to Amalandu Bhuya. Hello, I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Amalendu, to Amalendu, yeah. Just query, you have any study regarding the impact of COVID-19 on retail investors? Actually, uh, uh, we have all our maximum retail investors. We invest our money through mutual funds and others ways. A maximum of like we the little investor. You have any study or any information regarding the impact of COVID-19 on such retail investors? Number one. And number two, you have already mentioned in your presentation that there is less volatility in stock markets and diversification also minimum or limited there. I have a query. Can we say Indian stock market's reaction to COVID-19 crisis is surprising muted? Sir, your opinion, please.
Okay, I got your point. Your answer to your first question, retail investors. I think what I have explained, not only for big investors, not only for retail investors, to all the investors, what I have observed, just you see the results, what I have, I am showing. First one, hearts component, memory. There exists a long memory. That means persistent on conditional variant. That means this indicates uncertainty in the future predictability. You cannot say, because our Sensex and Nifty means Indian stock markets are high at present. You cannot say in the near future it will be increasing, because there is a persistent, means long memory exists. There exists a long memory. Okay. Number one, you cannot say. That means retail investors have to think about when to invest and when to withdraw their money from the stock market, because uncertainty. Now, volatility and leverage effect exist in India. Diversification is possible, but in the near future, if there is any negative news, but because I have proved that bad news, any negative news in the Indian stock market will greatly affect the Indian stock market, and it will be decreased steadily. What that has happened in the year 2020, March, last week of March, within 7 days, our Sensex was decreased about 15,000. Okay. That is the answer of your first question. I do not understand the second question. Please repeat.
Actually, I want to know now at present, due to COVID-19, during and after COVID-19 period, there is a horse running of our Sensex. We know.
Yes.
There is a decreasing range and very much horse running. Can I know? I want to know. Can we say Indian stock market's reaction to COVID-19 crisis is muted? Surprising muted. That means COVID-19 has no impact on Sensex because it is a horse riding trend. Is it?
Actually, almost all the macroeconomic variables affect the Indian stock market positively or negatively. if you think about the year 2020, most of the macroeconomic fundamentals, say for example, index of industrial production, also the inflation rates, interest rates, crude oil prices positive impact, gold prices negatively affect, only the crude oil prices and the agricultural commodity positively affect the Indian stock market. But the scenario was changed after recovering, after declaring the package. And also in the second wave, you think that only the states are closing their policy, measuring their policy in terms of lockdown or social distancing policy. The central doesn't declare the overall lockdown. And that means the business and industry both are not closed. And obviously the positively affect the Indian stock market. But what I have seen, because I have also I'm not showing here, I have compared the two waves, the first wave and the second wave of the Indian stock market. There, which one is good for the investor, foreign investor or the domestic investors? And what I have got the results applying econometrics. The second wave, the volatility has been decreased than the first wave, and also there doesn't exist the leverage effect. There doesn't exist leverage effect. Overall, there exists a leverage effect, but in the second wave, there doesn't exist any leverage effect. Okay, that means I think you will get your answer. Indian stock market will be increased, but at the same time, you have to remember in any kind of negative or bad news from the world markets, not only COVID-19, also we know the Afghanistan,
Political crisis. There is
any kind of political crisis or any other economic crisis or any other external factors may affect the Indian stock market at any point of time.
okay. I got it. Thank you, sir, for your answering.
Now,
Mohita.
yes. Now Devendra Shah has raised his hand. So Devendra sir, to whom you want to ask your question?
Myself, Devendra Shah.
Devendra sir. Oh, yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I have not any question. Just I want to share some information, and I want to some information from Avalendu sir regarding the Hart's exponent. According to that study, that with 1 year data, the time series showed the highly persistent value near about 0.7 or 0.8 in case of Indian stock market. That means the series is persistent and has a long memory. That means the positive directional. The series have the direction, positive or negative performance will continue. Earlier period will continue the next year. That means we can say there is a volatility is low because the series is persistent. And but according to sales discussion in GART model, alpha plus beta greater than 1, which indicates the volatility exists. So this, I think this, whether this result is contradictory or another point, I want to know, sir, the software used to calculate the Hart's exponent. Just two information, sir, I want.
Okay. First, contradictory results come out. Contradictory results are, there is no contradictory result. and you have question 1 year data. Actually, I have considered the daily data. Daily closing price of 11 stock markets. Is this 1 year? You are a researcher. Is this called a 1 year?
No, sir, it is not actually 1 year data.
Because I have considered near about more than 200 observation, sample size is 200. Why we can say is this 1 year? Number one, I'm question back to you.
Sir, I just not observation is very high. Yeah, I just on the 2020
Number two, that means just you are wrong. Why is it called 1 year data? Is it a 1 year data?
No,
1
sir,
month data?
No. 1 year has observation is
number one.
Yes, sir. It is not 1 year data.
Number two, you have mentioned there is a contradictory result. Long memory means persistent behavior on conditional variance. What is persistent behavior? That means their volatility in the stock markets will be very limited. And what we have seen, because out of 11 stock markets, only one stock market is volatile. Is it called contradictory result? Because long run memory based on scaling analysis, Hurst exponent value indicates that if there exists long run memory, that means future is unpredictable, but at the same time, their volatility will be limited. And our result show that out of 11 stock market, one stock market is volatile. That means there is no contradiction. Why you can say there is a contradictory result?
No, sir. I am saying that if the Hurst exponent value is greater than 0.5 and Gauge alpha plus beta greater than 1.
Yes.
Yes. Hurst exponent value greater than 0.5 persistent. And Gauge alpha plus beta greater than 1 means volatility. If any result arise in this situation, what will be the interpretation?
What we have seen, it is 0.50 in all the stock market, 11 stock market. But there is an exception in the Indian stock market. Indian stock market is Hurst exponent value is greater. At the same time, the sum of alpha beta is greater. That's why our logical conclusion will be any kind of bad news will be bad for the Indian stock market. The results are not contradictory.
Sorry, sir, I understand now.
Okay.
So another question, sir. Software used to calculate the Hurst exponent. Sir, another point is...
I do not know any software about Hurst exponent because manually I have calculated the result using Excel. Okay. Used formula very simple. Used formula in the Excel and within a minute you will get the result.
Okay, sir. Another question, sir. Just our last one. For calculating the Hurst exponent, whether we have to check the normality of the time series data?
Before going to the Hertz exponent or any kind of Dutch model, actually diagnostic tests must be, you have to used. And after getting the diagnostic result, you may use all kinds of Dutch model or also the Hertz means the scaling analysis. Okay. What I have seen, I have not reported here because in my paper, because I'm working almost, the paper has, I have completed the paper. I have seen that all the diagnostic results are good because the data is normal, data is homoscedastic, the data is near about to linear, and at the same time, the model, the residuals of the model, of all the models, because Hertz exponent, what I have used Hertz model, the residuals are also okay for using the scaling memory analysis. Okay, I have not reported here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Momita, unmute yourself, please.
Any question? So now I conclude the first sessions here. So honorable dignitaries and most valued guests, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the esteemed institution as the joint convener of the conference. We want to express our gratitude to Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Stuart Taker, who has spared his precious time for us and graced this occasion with his presence. I extend our sincere thanks, Professor Amulandu Bhuiya, for delivering the special lectures and for being our backbone in our endeavor and constantly motivating and inspiring us. A warm thanks goes to our principal for your vision and commitment to work and its execution's high benchmark you have set for ourselves and never say die attitude help us to excel in all endeavor. I also extend our thanks to the HOD Commerce and IQAC Coordinator Kasrapara College for giving us intensively support for organizing this conference. Behind every successful program lie the manifold attempts of our committed faculty. I would like to take a moment acknowledge the immense contribution of our dedicated faculty. I would further extend the heartily thanks to Mr. Pinaki Das, HOD Department of Computer Application, and Mr. Manoj Vishwas, Private Technical Consultant, for their immense technical support of this program. Finally, I thank the distinguished invitees present here and all the participants for their good participation throughout the session. Now, I would like to wind up the first session. Thank you all. We all again join the meeting after lunch, start 2 p.m. in the technical session 1 and 2.